It's Ollie Brockett here for LowKickMMA. Joining me today is Bellator lightweight JJ, the Maori Kid, Wilson, ahead of his upcoming fight against Vladimir Tokov at Bellator 286, which takes place October 1st in Long Beach, California. JJ, thanks for your time. How are you doing today, pal?
I'm doing good, brother. What about yourself?
I'm not too bad. I had a bit of a sniffle in the cold today, so just been lying on the couch, so been a bit lazy. How about yourself?
Yeah,
What have you
yeah.
been getting up to today?
This morning woke up, went to the gym, did some light sparring, and then sauntered a little bit, came home. Now I'm just doing some media work.
Oh, happy days. So, as we were talking before we recorded, you've been about the place, you train in California sometimes, Auckland, New Zealand, where you're from, and obviously now you're in Florida. I also wanted to ask about this. How does life differ, from America and also the different parts you're at, and from what life was like back in Auckland, New Zealand? Like, how have you adapted? How's everything been going?
Um, when it's a big difference for me because you got to realize when I was in New Zealand, I was a broke kid. I had no money, so I'm literally living off like ramen noodles and eggs. You know what I mean? So like life has changed dramatically because now I can afford food. You know what I mean? I have a house. I was living in the gym in Auckland, so but as in general, I would say New Zealand is a lot slower than America. So it's more slower pace and things are a lot more expensive as well. So I like there's a lot more opportunity here,
Yeah.
especially within the fighting community.
Ah, well, of course, because there's a lot more gyms in America, obviously, with it being such a big and growing sport over there. However, and through the grapevine and a few other videos I've watched of you, I know you're a fan of spearfishing.
Yep.
I was wondering if you've been keeping up with that, or with your new wife, has she been keeping you in the kitchen doing dishes? Or have you been getting any more hobbies? Obviously it's hard to keep up with certain hobbies when you're moving about the place. Tell
um
me about that.
I've been spearfishing still. I love spearfishing. I've gone out over here. Over here is just there's just a lot of sharks. So there's bull sharks everywhere. So like you just like think about shooting your gun. You just like have a thought about it, and then a shark comes. So it's so I get a little bit more scared here than I would in California because it takes if you just shoot your gun and you miss, a shark will come. So it's kind of dicey, you know what I mean? It's like I don't really the last thing I want to be doing is fighting off a shark. Usually when I see them I just get out the water. But I love spearfishing, I go quite a bit for lobsters as well. I love to be able to just, catch my own food and cook it. I
Nice.
kind of been like that my whole life. I was hunting growing up, fishing growing up. So I kind of keep that up.
Oh yeah. So you don't think you could roll with a shark? You don't think you could, get a rear naked choke? You don't fancy your chances?
I've had some close encounters and you realize how fragile humans are when you see a like a 7 foot shark just like gunning it, like just passing you. You feel so little, you know what I mean, and how fast they're moving. Even if you see a big seal in the water, you kind of like, oh shit, like this thing will like murder me in the water. I can't do nothing. I can't even get away quickly. It puts things in a different perspective for sure.
You're not on land, are we? In the sea, you're a totally different mammal, aren't you?
Yeah, even though you got a gun, like, because I got a big spear gun, I mean, I got this big spear gun, I'm still not feeling safe. I'm like following this thing, like, don't come near me because I'm gonna because you don't want to shoot the thing, because if you shoot it, it's gonna take off, and then like you're gonna lose your spear, or some of those animals are protected, you can shoot them. Um, and if you do shoot a shark, well, I don't want to shoot a shark and not eat it. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna eat it. So so I just You know what I mean? I just like, okay, get the boat over here. I'm getting on the boat, and we're gonna go to a different spot. You know?
So just out of curiosity, just thinking about that then, with you talking about you don't want to shoot your shot early, you don't want them scampering off, and also you got to be wary about yourself. Do you take any like lessons you've learned from spearfishing and bring it back into the cage?
What actually helped me, what actually I felt like improved me with mixed martial arts is actually the breath holding. Because you're hitting the bottom time. You'll dive like I'm diving down to like 80, 100 feet, right? I can get down to like 80 feet. I got a static breath hold of almost 5 minutes. So I noticed when I started spearfishing, my cardio got way better. So I stopped gassing out in training because you gotta realize I'm diving for like 4 hours and I'm diving to the bottom, coming back to the top, diving to the bottom, coming back to the top, and I'm staying at the bottom every single time, like 1 to 2 minutes. And that whole 1 to 2 minutes, I'm kicking down, kicking back up. So I'm working out, and you get used to working out, like moving with no oxygen, because you're holding your breath. So I felt like that improved my ability to while I'm training, when you get tired, you know what I mean, when you get exhausted, when you've been working hard in the gym, and then you have to go with a really good guy, and usually like you'll feel lethargic and tired. I wouldn't feel lethargic and tired because my body was used to working without oxygen. So it's just like, and sometimes I've been in chokes, and I'm just like, well, I got a 5 minute breath hold, so let's hold on for 5 minutes. I'll hold my breath for 5 minutes, and hopefully they get tired and let go. And that's happened like a few times. You know what I mean?
So it's a bit of a flex on your opponent, to be fair.
Yeah, yeah. It's like they got me in a choke, and I literally think in my head, wow, I feel more confident because I'm like, well, I know I can hold my breath for 5 minutes, so I think I'm gonna see how long he can squeeze for. You know what I mean? Of course, I don't want to wind up there, but if we do, I'm gonna see. Wow, it's gonna be a while before I go to sleep.
Happy days. So it's almost like when you're not training, you're still training, aren't you? You're still
Yeah.
working on your cardio, and that's a great hobby to have. I wanted to move on to your nickname, the Maori Kid. Uh, I don't know too much about it. I tried to do some research. However, I wanted to ask you personally, like, what is the story behind it? Is there any meaning behind it? And what does it mean to you?
So Maori is my culture, my heritage. It's my culture. So when I came to California, when I moved from New Zealand to California, I was just a kid, right? I was 17 years old, and I actually debuted for Bellator when I was 18. And I was 18 years old, and I had an incident and all this stuff, and then people were calling, but all the people in my gym and that were all calling me the Maori Kid because I was Maori and I was a kid from New Zealand. And then I kind of just adopted the name and just made it my nickname.
Oh man, I love it because you've also jumped on it as well because you've made t-shirts, you've made a bit of a brand out of it, and what makes it better is it's your brand, it's you, it's who you are,
Mm.
and I love that story behind it. I just wanted to get your perspective on it.
Yeah.
Um, and also speaking about who you are, in your face-offs, you bring a lot of intensity and craziness to it.
Yeah.
Is that just part of the game plan to get in your opponent's head, or is that just you, as you're saying before? Is it your aggression? Is it
Well,
what's
that's
inside you?
as being Maori as my culture, it's called a pukana. So if you go back, if you go back in history, like before guns and war and all that kind of stuff, back with like kind of in the tribal days, Maori were really tribal. You know what the haka is?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So like the haka that the All Blacks do in rugby. Well, they would say if we were going to meet in battle and we are going to fight to the death somehow, we would have, with weapons or whatever we had. Back then we had like taihas, they're just like sharpened sticks, or a patu, what they called it, and it's kind of like a green stone. It's kind of like a rock that's shaped into a weapon. They would do a haka and do a pukana. And the pukana back then, because we were cannibals, we're carnivores, so we ate each other, right? So we ate humans. So they would do that to signify like I'm gonna eat you after I kill you, kind of. And it was they also did a haka to put fear into the opponent and also warm themselves up for the battle. So that's basically where that came from and where it originated from, which is my ancestors. So when I go out there and I do a face off, I do the pukana to put fear into them and also to draw out my ancestors because I'm getting ready for battle. You know what I mean? I'm getting ready for war where I'm gonna go in there with somebody and I'm gonna try and kill him and he's gonna try to kill me, you know?
Well, like you said, you're bringing your heritage into your fighting game. When you're inside that cage, does it? Do you feel like you've got that extra will inside you? You've got, your ancestral history behind you. Do you ever feel like that when you're in the cage? Does it
Yeah,
motivate you?
when I'm fighting, I feel like in my culture we call it mana, right? I feel the mana of my people and like my ancestors, my family, my friends, everybody. I feel that energy behind me, and when I'm in there, I'm just excited. I'm just ready to murder the person in front of me.
I love that, pal. So moving on to more of like Bellator and your fighting career there. You've been fighting at featherweight ever since your pro debut, even when your amateur career. However, you've recently made the move to the 155-pound division. I understand some of the reasoning behind this move was weight issues, and you sort of coming into your own sort of body. However, I'm wondering if is there any additional motivation there? Is there you wanting to fight McKee because he moved up? Is there any other motivation, or is it just weight issue?
Well, I was the at 145. I was I was on a run, and it's really difficult. It was always difficult for me to make the weight. Even my debut was difficult to make the weight. So I've been struggling to make 66 kilos since I was 18 years old. And then, when I'm trying to make it at 24, 23, like 18-year-old body compared to 24-year-old body is a lot different, but I'll still try to get down there. And I really, really wanted to just make that run for the title because I was so close. So that was the whole purpose of me staying at that weight. But because I was so close, you know what I mean? I'm top five. I had a number one contender fight lined up. I was so close. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna try grit it out and I'm gonna try do it just to make the title and then I'm gonna move up. But that wasn't the case, unfortunately. And then so I had to just make the decision to move up.
Do you feel like the 150-pound division is more of your natural weight class then at the minute?
It's definitely more my natural weight class. It's easier for me to weight and make. It's not that difficult for me to make. The guys have a little bit more size because people are cutting from, a lot more than what I'm cutting from. Because I don't have to cut much. I'm like on the cusp where it's
Okay.
really difficult for me to make 145, but it's really easy for me to make 155. So I'm at like a weird weight, you know what I mean, where people are cutting 155 from 185, 190. So you know what I mean? I feel good at this weight. I'm long, I'm lengthy, I'm strong as well. So like I feel comfortable with the guys that they're gonna put in front of me, you know what I mean? I don't really mind.
Yeah, man. I expect you to go on a run. However, unfortunately, you are coming off a loss. I wanted to ask you, is it, because since it's your first loss in your career, is it something you've had to overcome? Is it been a sort of a mental hurdle? Is it just like business as usual? Does it not really phase you? Is it, it's part of the game?
Well, look, if I in my head, if I'd lost that fight, he would have knocked me out or submitted me. He would have put some significant damage on me. Where I walked out of there and thought, oh damn, I lost that fight. Like he beat me. But when I walked out of that cage, I didn't feel like I was beat. You know what I mean? I felt like he held on to sway the judge's decision. So I didn't walk out of there upset. You know what I mean? I walked out of there like, okay, this is the game that we played. These are the guys that are coming in, they're playing the game. And I competed a lot of jiu-jitsu, and it's the same thing that happens there. There's a lot of gamers, right? That just go in there and they just game the system. And my last opponent, he gamed the system. He didn't go in there and he didn't fight. He winded up, in the beginning he tried to exchange some punches, and he winded up on the bad side of that. So he's just like, okay, I'm just going to game it, and it's a great strategy. And I think, what I mean, if you're gonna go out there and you're gonna fight, you're never gonna be a fan favorite if you're just gonna be gaming people, what I mean? Like, oh, I'm just gonna jab, throw low kick, jab, throw low kick, jab, throw low kick, and then try and take you down and hold you down. Yeah, I should have got up, but at the same time, I didn't feel beat. You know what I mean? I didn't go out of that fight with a scratch on me. So I was like, I didn't really, it annoyed me. Yes, I was like, man, how did I let this guy game me? But I didn't really let it affect my mindset as much as if I came out and the guy just absolutely dominated me, then it would have put me in a mental downward spiral, But for this, I was like, I don't feel like I was beat. I feel like I just made some tactical mistakes because he was trying to game me, and I thought he'll try fight, but he didn't want to fight. He wanted to just win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that was a good learning experience for me, because I haven't been in an MMA fight where a guy doesn't want to fight. You know what I mean? And that
Yeah.
was I think that was a good learning experience for me.
Do, do you get confidence and any sort of motivation heading into your next bout against Tokov? Like with that experience behind you, and have you got any motivation to prove people wrong, or is it just business as usual? I know I've repeated that sort of same question there.
As business as usual. I feel like he's a very, very similar opponent. Like they're very similar styles. As he's not gonna he's not he's good everywhere, but he's not dangerous anywhere. So I feel like it's gonna be a very, very similar fight where he's gonna be looking to be a competitor, but he's not gonna fight. So you know what I mean? I need to pull that fight out of him, you know what I mean? I need to make him have to fight. And if I can make him have to fight, I will come on top.
Is there anything like you've trained specifically for this guy and for this fight, or has it been more homing your own tools, knowing that you're gonna try and go into this fight and get this guy out of here?
Yeah, we got a lot of strategies to make him desperate, right? Because what I need him when someone gets desperate, that's when they fight. If I can make him desperate with the strikes, I can make him fight. Because if at that point, if he doesn't fight, he's gonna lose. So we've come up with lots of strategies that are gonna create a fight. You know what I mean? To make him have to be like, oh, I can't take that. You know what I mean? I can't take that shot anymore. I can't I can't just absorb that shot and keep doing my strategy. I have to react. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? I have to defend that. And when you force these things on the people, they get a little bit desperate, and then when people get desperate, they make a lot of mistakes. And when they start making mistakes, you can start capitalizing on the mistakes. So the goal is to wear him down and make him make mistakes and then finish him.
oh hell yeah. So obviously you've got your plan there. If you had your own way, if things went according to plan, how would you love to get your hand raised at
By
Bellator
submission.
286?
By submission, always. I
Any
love
particular?
submission. Rear naked choke. You
Rear
know what I
naked
mean?
choke.
I love, yeah, rear naked choke. I've always been a jiu-jitsu guy, and I love displaying my jiu-jitsu to the world. But hey, if I knock him out, I knock him out. I don't mind. You know what I mean? That's how
Would
I've
you?
always been.
So I was just going to say, would you prefer to knock him down and get a submission, or would you rather, get those positions and get his back?
I want to hurt him. I want to cut him, and then I want to submit him.
Hell yeah, I love that.
You know what I mean? I want him to be covered in blood. I want to be drenched in his blood, and then I want to submit him.
And that's going to be a statement to, the lightweight division that, you're there, and I can't wait. I also wanted to ask, if you were victorious, is there anyone in the lightweight division that you have in mind, or are you just going to take whoever's coming next?
I want a ranked fighter. I want to make a run for that title. You know what I mean? I was right there 145. I need to be. I wanna be right there again in 155. You know, my last fight was a little hiccup. The guy just didn't want to fight. You know what I mean? He managed to scrape by and win a decision. But you know what I mean? I'm not gonna let that happen again. I'm gonna come out there and I'm gonna take this 155 bout within the next year.
Oh, lovely, man. I ask a lot of people I interview this question. In an ideal world, where would you see yourself in a year's time from now? Would it be in the rankings? Would it be for a championship shot? Where do you see yourself?
I feel like in 1 year's time, I'm gonna be fighting either for the number one contender or I'm gonna be fighting for the belt.
Okay. Well, hopefully we can have you back on, and in a year's time we can review all that. But before I get a final prediction for the fight, is there any shout outs or to any sponsors or any people, trainers or anything like that you'd like to give? That your floor's yours.
Yeah, I'd like to say a big thank you to King Mo at American Top Team. He's been helping me a lot for this camp, and all my sponsors, all my friends that consistently supported me throughout my journey.
Oh yeah. As I said, can we have a quick final prediction? So it's a rear naked choke in what
Rear
round?
naked choke round 2.
Okay, right. I'll put some money on. If you're wrong, I'm gonna blame you, pal. It's all good. Well, anyway, I wish you the best of luck at Bellator 286, pal, and I look forward to seeing you perform.
Thank you very much.
Lovely to meet you, pal.
You too, brother. Bye.
Make sure to subscribe to the LowKick MMA YouTube channel for all the latest news, event previews, and interviews with some of the biggest stars in MMA.